Visual effects and computer-generated imagery were first used in filmmaking in the early 70s and have had an enormous impact on how films are made and on the lives of the people who make films. Over the next 5 minutes or so, I will explain how filmmaking has changed because of visual effects and CGI, and explore how and why these changes occurred. Please sit back and enjoy the show. Before the use of visual effects and CGI became common, making and editing films took a long time. Filmmakers needed to first film all the possible scenes they wanted. Any special effects the director required needed to happen. Actors would have to either do or fake the dangerous stunts required for action movies. And if characters needed to look different than the actors playing them, prosthetics and models needed to be used. Cecile Holland, Jack Dawn, and William Tuttle were three people who devised many famous techniques for makeup that are still used today and laid foundations for many special effects that are crucial in today's modern blockbusters. For film's first 2 decades, most actors did their own makeup, and then, in 1970, George Westmore opened the first studio makeup department, which was called Studio Selig. The original purpose of movie makeup was to make Caucasian people look natural on orthochromatic monochrome film stocks, which were intensive to red and yellows. As the film stock changed, so did the makeup and techniques used. Today, rather than relying on makeup products, filmmakers use gel and latex complemented with CGI to alter someone's face or other body characteristics. Most of the stunts used in old films were performed by stuntmen. Stuntmen are people who look like the actor and are roughly the same height. When shooting a dangerous scene, the stuntmen would replace the actors and perform the stunts the actor can't do. Today, green screens and CGI are used to limit the number of physical stunts required in a movie and to make the stunts look more realistic. To fake certain events in a movie, they used models of cities and creatures and camera angles to represent sizing and placement. For example, in the original King Kong, the movie studio had to create 2 huge model gorilla models, as well as models of the buildings that were filmed. Then, by using different camera angles, they could make the gorilla look large and the humans and buildings look small. Nowadays, we can use CGI to make explosions, monsters, and chaos. Before CGI and visual effects were commonly used, when a movie was being filmed, the directors would film a lot of different scenes, and when they got to the editing stage, they would take out the film inside the camera, unroll it, and manually cut and paste where they wanted the film to run. For example, if they suddenly wanted the movie to go somewhere else, they would take the other scene and paste it onto the end of the other scene. These days it's all digital, and you can edit it on a computer. For the origins of CGI, we need to go back to the year 1968. In this year, a group of Russian mathematicians and physicists, led by N. Konstantinov, developed a groundbreaking mathematical model that allowed them to move a cat across the screen. The scientists turned this mathematical model into a program for special mainframe computers with the name BESM4. The BESM4 computer was able to print hundreds of frames, which when processed could be converted into usable film material. From the original year of the creation of CGI, it took about 15 years for CGI and VFX to be used in big and popular movies, such as Westworld, Star Wars, and Tron, among others. Once directors like George Lucas demonstrated the clear advantages of CGI, it became popular very quickly because it allowed filmmakers to push the boundaries and have something new and unique in each of their films. The impact of CGI and visual effects on filmmaking have been massive. Films are now able to be made much faster and the work is less manual. Some jobs in the film industry, such as stuntmen and women and explosive experts, are needed less. And because not everything has to be physically done, Risks to human life have been reduced risks. The number of movies being made has increased dramatically, and it is now possible to make a pretty good quality movie for not very much money. The introduction of CGI and visual effects have also meant that people like me can make their own movies at home. Many roles and careers have been affected because of these changes. There are now often less actors required, as it is possible to generate crowds and mass scenes digitally. However, there are lots more jobs available for CGI experts, computer programmers, and designers who can now also call themselves filmmakers, with movies like the Lego Movie requiring hundreds of technical experts to create. In conclusion, visual effects and computer-generated imagery were first used in filmmaking in the early 70s and have had an enormous impact on how films are made and on the lives of people who make them. Before the use of visual effects and CGI became common, making and editing films took a long time. Before CGI and visual effects were commonly used, when a movie was being filmed, the directors would film a lot of different scenes, and then when they got to the editing stage, they would take out the film inside the camera, unroll it, and manually cut and paste where they wanted the film to run. From the original year of creation of CGI, it took about 15 years for CGI and visual effects to be used in big and popular movies, such as Westworld, Star Wars, and Tron, among others. The impact of CGI and visual effects on filmmaking have been massive.
La 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 la